Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Find Out podcast. We hope that you had a lovely long weekend with Thanksgiving, hopefully with your family, and not paying attention to some of the completely absurd things that happened over the break. And we're going to talk about all of them. And we actually brought an expert on to talk to us about all of these things. With us today is we're going to call her Dr. Nola Haynes, but we're going to go Dr. Nola throughout this, who is an adjunct professor at Georgetown University, has more degrees than I can count, is an expert in foreign policy, on all kinds of things. So, Dr. Nola, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tim. I'm excited to be here. And thank you for reading my bio that way, because sometimes it is a bit ridiculous.
Well, I couldn't read the whole thing because it would take the whole show. You've done all kinds of amazing things. But unfortunately, we have to talk about some relatively serious matters. And again, for those of you who haven't heard, it came out this weekend that the Secretary of Defense, I will not call him the Secretary of War because that is stupid. The Secretary of Defense.
Call him a secretary, though.
Yes.
I think that's appropriate.
Maybe we should just call him former weekend Fox and Friends anchor, Pete Hegseth,
former secretary,
which is really,
I like that one.
right?
Drunk.
That's
drunk. You have to preface it with drunk.
He's drunk weekend. I mean, there's a couple of them on Fox.
But not to be confused with Janine Pirro, who's the other drunk Fox News host.
Who is now I believe she is the district attorney for DC, or not the federal attorney or whatever it is.
Federal district attorney.
Not appointed. He just
DC.
Shoved her in. Anyways, let's not talk about her because we have enough garbage we have to talk about here. So it came out this weekend that Pete Hegseth ordered an additional strike on one of the boats that the Navy SEALs have been striking in the Caribbean that they have claimed were drug runners. But in this particular case, it was clear that two people had survived the strike. They were hanging on to the side of what I only could imagine is fragments of the ship. And the quote, I believe, that we've all been given was, he said, kill them all. And so this obviously set off a firestorm this weekend, people calling it a war crime, people calling it extrajudicial killing. And that's why we wanted Dr. Nola to come on and talk to us about this, because these distinctions matter. So, Dr. Nola, tell us what we know about this strike and what we actually should be calling it.
Thank you so much to all of you for caring about the facts. And in a situation like this, facts matter. Some people could easily argue that it's a matter of legalese. And first and foremost, I am not a lawyer. I am a political scientist. But when it comes to the world of international security, those two worlds definitely cross over. So in one of my security studies courses that I teach a great deal on war, what constitutes war, specifically the theory of war. And what's interesting about this situation is the reason why I felt like I had to disrupt my social media vacay is because I kept seeing people refer to this as a war crime. That is a way to describe it if you're trying to get people to understand the level of severity. Is it the right way to describe it? If my students were to answer, if I were to give them this as a case study and say, how would you describe it? And if they said war crime, I would dock them points. And it's a really simple reason why. No one has declared war, not even Venezuela. And it's a reason for that because wars cost money. Maduro understands that he's in a tricky situation, and he also understands what sort of administration he's dealing with. So he's in a very tricky situation. So he hasn't declared war. And to my knowledge, sitting here at 2:07 p.m., December 1st, the United States has not declared war on Venezuela. So to call this a war crime is to suggest that this is a legal war, and or conflict, and it is neither.
Yeah. So in this, so what should we be calling this, in your opinion, from the facts that you've seen so far?
Well, I agree with Ranking Member Meeks. On the ranking. I always, it's the Committee on oh my goodness, there's so many committees and I cannot remember. I can't recall it right now. But I agree with Ranking Member Meeks on this. And I'm going to say something that I never ever thought I would say. I'm going to agree with Rand Paul, who also describes it as an extrajudicial killing. And it's a reason why the legislators are describing it this way, because here's the situation, guys. Having a legally declared war affords you a few things. So say, for instance, if they were enemy combatants in those ships, that's a different situation. We may not actually even be having this conversation right now, because in war, you can legally, unfortunately, kill your enemy combatants, right? But what's the one thing we always hear about when we're talking about legally declared wars and conflicts? We're always hearing about the civilian count. That's why this matters, right? So when you are just out there killing people without any sort of legal authority, without any sort of declaration of war, that pretty much just becomes murder. Or, in another way to put it, because we were talking about an international situation, extrajudicial killing. Now, can you have extrajudicial killings while there are legally determined wars and conflicts? Yes, but that's not what this is.
I think of it as like if I'm in a boat off the coast of California, whale watching with my friends, and Australia says we think that those are what's a gang, Bloods or Crips or something, like we think that those are bad, and then they just come and murder me right off the coast of California, and then they say, well, don't worry, they trust us, they were gang members and drug dealers, and like what would a normal president do if we were killed off of our own coast by another government and without any actual evidence that anybody was anything other than just a random person? Like, these guys they might have all been drug dealing cartel traffickers. We will probably never know, because they'll never tell us, or because they didn't even do the work to find out who these people actually were. They just made a judgment call. And that's a little dangerous.
I forget if it was a New York Times or Politico. Someone actually did journalism. Someone did a deep dive.
I've heard of that.
I can't remember who it was, but they actually went to Venezuela, talked to community members, talked to family members to ask who these people were, because they're no longer here. And what was interesting in this kind of this piece is that it was revealed that you're talking, if they were dealing drugs, you were talking about petty, way down on the drug totem pole. We're not talking about El Chapo's homies running in and out of the South Caribbean. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that kind of
delivering them personally.
I mean, with the kind of
concierge treatment.
So, this isn't the situation that we're talking about. And I think that's important to mention, because I think this administration does a great job at throwing out a tiny bit of red meat so you can completely get people distracted from what the point is. And so they can muddy the waters by saying, but they were actual drug dealers.
Bad guys. Just like in the movies.
Right. But I think the point being here, and I think this is what you're saying, is that there is no evidence that these guys were any sort of middle to higher level drug traffickers with, hundreds of, maybe I'm going too far, I don't know how much this stuff weighs, kilos, I guess, but, like these boats, you blow them up and there's not this like white powdered cloud because there's so many drugs. There doesn't seem to be very much evidence, at least that's been presented to us, that suggests, like you said, that these were anything other than one fisherman or two very, very low level drug dealers who, by quote unquote eliminating them or killing them, doesn't do anything to stop the flow of drugs into this country.
I think what's important to note is that the Trump administration is conflating a whole bunch of things. They like to say that like every boat that they are hitting with a missile strike, they're saving 27,000 Americans' lives. Like they're acting as if everything on that boat is fentanyl, and that fentanyl is going to result in an overdose every single time.
And where is this fentanyl coming from? Because it's not coming from Venezuela.
Mexico.
And none of
I
the whole.
just do a video on that.
What's really important to note is none of these boats could physically make it to the United States
because they're fishermen.
Exactly,
Right.
they're fishermen.
They don't
Yes.
have refueling stations like, every 200
flying
miles
over them.
This isn't the start of NASCAR on in the South Caribbean Sea,
Right.
Like we're not talking about souped up boats here.
So to be clear, one, I mean, at least correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw something that said most of the fentanyl comes from Mexico and it comes from the Pacific side through California.
Yeah.
And what we are saying here, just to be clear to everybody, because this kind of blows up their entire narrative, these boats can't
what
make
you
it
did
to the
there.
United States, right? What did I say? Did I say that
Blows
wrong?
up
blowing
what they
up the
did
entire
there.
narrative.
Is that bad?
No,
that what-
it's
We
said he
are-
liked it.
No,
It
it's an
is their-
appropriate plan.
Oh,
words.
okay. I
Come
thought
on,
you were
keep
saying
going.
they always suggest that I say these pseudosexual things that I don't even realize it. That I don't think that was one of them.
You do.
Anyways,
That
He
was not
said
one of
something about Jeffrey Epstein dripping in one
All
episode.
right,
It was like,
all right,
come
all right.
on,
this is
Tim.
a
not
serious
fun of the
guys.
guests.
We have a serious guest here. A serious.
The
Anyways.
visual of anything dripping out of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, God
like,
damn it.
Oh,
Oh,
she did.
God.
I walked us to
Look
the
what
line.
you did, Rich.
She
Look what
dragged
you
our
did.
corpses across the line. I'm not accountable for that.
Anyways, to go back, their narrative has been blown up because the fact is these boats can't even get, what are we, like Miami, like to South Florida, I guess. So like it seems to me, and Dr. Nola, correct me if I'm wrong, these are not boats that were coming to the United States. So then what are we doing?
Exactly. What are we doing? What we are doing is, we're making a mineral resource grab. I mean, it's the same. It's the same sort of tactic with Nigeria, and you send poor Nicki Minaj to the UN.
Right. Wait,
I'm sorry.
it's
See, I told the Lord I was going to be good today, and I wasn't
No,
going to
no,
come on here.
no,
and
Dr.
send nobody
Nola.
to hell.
there are no rules here. You
There
can
is no
say
Lord in the
whatever you
Find Out
want.
podcast.
Our audience will eat it up because it's at least us not making stupid comments. Like it's, have at it.
It's
So
not just
did
us,
he
yeah.
really send Nicki Minaj to the UN? Did that happen?
That really happened.
Oh my God.
To
I
talk
didn't know
about
that.
the Christians dying in Nigeria.
Oh,
And
right.
here's the thing. One of my 8,000 degrees you mentioned, Tim, I have a background in divinity. So this is actually an area I care a great deal about. And so I do a lot of work on the intersection of international security and identity, and religion being one of those markers. So this is something that I care a great deal about. I think that sending Nicki Minaj to the UN to make the case that Christians are dying in Nigeria, which is why the U.S. needs to intervene, when Nigeria isn't even the first country on the list where Christians are dying in mass. How about North Korea? I don't see him telling his little buddy
He's not
over in
poking
North
that bear.
Korea that we
Well, Rocket
coming.
Man.
Right, exactly. I don't see you knocking on his door talking about we coming to save Christians.
Right.
So it's this situation where they literally change the narrative as they are telling the narrative. It's amazing.
Yep.
But so from your perspective, and I think I agree. These are resource battles. This is nothing to do with stopping drugs coming into the United States, nor is it, I guess, stopping the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, of all places, which is a resource rich, but also highly, what's the word I'm looking for? There is a lot of war that goes on in, especially I believe in the northern parts of Nigeria, I think.
Where Boko Haram, where they have a lot of
terror activities and a lot of awful things that happen. But this is like, they want the Venezuelan oil and they want the resources under the ground in Nigeria, I assume.
Absolutely. And then there's another thing that's also going on here too, when we're talking about these kind of regional tiffs, when we're talking about, when Trump talks about Greenland, when all of this chaos started, one of the questions that people were trying to answer in my world in foreign policy is not only what is our foreign policy going to look like, but what is the stance we're taking? So we heard a lot about isolationism on the campaign trail, but it's actually looked something more like wanting the opposite of everything that they said that they wanted to do, right? So point number one, getting involved. We'll use Israel, for example. Not only going to Israel's defense. That's one part of it. But then Trump trying to put his finger on the scale to tell Israel how they should handle Netanyahu. Um, the point that we are completely ignoring Venezuela's sovereignty, the point that we are completely egging on Greenland. You know, we've heard threats against Mexico. So there's this kind of like regional spheres of influence theory that's been floated out there that Ben Rhodes has talked about. But now it's looking like something else. It's looking like we want our finger on the scale for the things that Trump cares about, not necessarily what's in the best interest of the United States. Because I would argue that we're moving in the opposite interest of the United States. And then secondly, it's this kind of really bullish foreign policy where the United States knows it's bigger and stronger. And so you're going to try and bully Venezuela. You're going to bully Nigeria. So it's this, I think this administration would probably use the word deterrence. I use the word bullying.
So are you suggesting, Dr. Nola, that Trump's no new wars pledge was complete bullshit?
What? He's only ever told the truth until now. He's
I don't
never
know.
said anything that wasn't true.
He said no new wars, though we're lighting up fishermen left and right in the Caribbean, and
but it's not war, so we're totally great.
right. But I
A
guess
little light murder.
a little light murder, casual.
That's
Well,
good
did you
branding.
guys? And we'll have to have the. I want to get to this. So Pete Hegseth today. Did you guys see the tweet he put out about this?
no.
So it's
The
going to be hard.
Franklin one?
Yeah. So he posted this tweet that was basically the play on, I guess it's Franklin the turtle
The
or
turtle,
something.
yeah.
It's like a
You know
kid's
what
movie.
turtle thing to me, because I'm from the Ninja Warrior generation, so I was really confused. And can y'all just explain it to me, please?
I cannot, but like I could show you. I think I, can.
saw it.
It's a children's book.
Yeah, it's a children's book.
Oh, okay.
But obviously they changed it to Franklin
A
targets.
children's book.
Yeah, it's a children's book. This is a children's
Yeah.
book. We'll put it up on the edit. We'll put it up, but it says Franklin targets narco terrorists, and then it literally shows him in helmet and with a bazooka shooting a boat that looks to be filled with cocaine or fentanyl, and there's pictures of guys on the boats with what looks like automatic rifles kind of getting blown to bits. This was today after all of the criticism about like killing these fishermen. And
Why is it Franklin the turtle? I don't get it.
It's because it'll make the wokies. It'll trigger the libs.
Yeah.
Why?
And the fishermen are brown. You got to add that.
Oh,
that
right.
part
Yeah,
too.
you missed
So
that,
they
Tim.
had to make
That's
the point.
Very important. Very important.
Wow.
I don't understand it.
But
This
that's
is,
what he did.
incoherent to me.
It is incoherent. He is incoherent.
Well,
Like,
this is how the alt-right communicates. They use absurdities in their memes so that we spend our time debating, what does this mean? How is it offensive? How many layers of racism is it? And that's distracting us from the fact that we should be talking about how Pete Hegseth is going to fucking jail. And like there's no getting around it. Donald
Amen.
Trump could issue a pardon. I don't think that that Pete Hegseth is going to work his way into a pardon for absolutely everything he's fucking done.
well,
They actually tagged Southcom in this. That is disgusting.
can you just explain what that is to folks that don't know? Dr. Nola.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's like this stuff like
It's
takes
staggering.
everyone's breath away for a minute because it's
Absolutely.
just like complete horseshit. What was the group that he tagged, just so people know what that is?
So Southcom essentially it's a Southcom denotes region. So it is where that military theater is within the South Caribbean and other parts of the Caribbean Sea. So we're talking about the South Caribbean Sea, which is literally Southcom,
Right.
South Command.
So he's basically tagging the account run by people at the Pentagon that is basically meant to talk about the things that we are doing in that region, essentially, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he's using this children's meme, which I'm sure some alt-right asshole put together, and someone gave it to him and was like, "Oh, look at this cool thing." But I want to transition, because one thing that I think is really, really important to talk about is that this does seem, at least right now, to be a rare instance where there is bipartisan anger
Mhm.
over this, and I think
Yeah.
we saw a statement from both the chair and the ranking member of the Armed Services Committee in the House
Yeah.
issued a joint statement that they both like this doesn't really happen
Well,
anymore.
Because,
And
sorry.
go ahead.
Well, no, I think it's really critical to split this in half because
Mhm.
there's one issue of blowing up boats. We have
Mhm.
been trained by action movies, at least since the 80s, every Rambo movie, that blowing up bad guys with missiles and military leaders who are just like, fuck it, kill the bad guys. I'm too, like, there are lives at stake, and they go around the rules. We've been trained to kind of look up to that kind of like swaggery bravado
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
The critical difference here is those two people that were clinging to wreckage. That is what makes this a markedly different conversation, where I think a freakish number of Americans, and I'm looking at you, Zach, if you just said, should the military shoot drug boats out of the ocean without permission from the other governments, a lot of people would say, like, maybe that's not legal, but I don't like personally have a problem with it, or like, fuck those guys, they're bad guys or whatever. Zach is laughing
catches
because
If
he's
you,
just
if
nodding.
you can
strays.
confirm that they're actual drug dealers, I'm okay
Exactly.
with it. If they're
But-
regular innocent fishermen, I'm not okay with it.
But if you said humans who have already been attacked are clinging to wreckage in the ocean, should you double down and fucking murder them out of the water and not take them as prisoners and interrogate them? Where did you get your drugs? Like, flip them, like, do what you do.
You would think
in
you would
other-
want to do that no matter what.
do that part of it. So that's the particularly brutal component here, where this is different from all of the other boat strikes. So I think that zooming in on that key point is the thing that's going to really change people's minds.
Right, but that's the reason why there was, I think, this joint statement over the weekend, because again, Democrats and Republicans agree on essentially nothing at this point, right? Like even budget bills, that's why we have a shutdown, because they don't agree on anything. But in this particular case, and I want to get Dr. Nola your take, is like, this feels different than some of the other, questionable / illegal things that the Trump administration has done.
Mhm.
Do you, I think Chris made a good point that, like, we would like to see, if convicted, Pete Hegseth spends some time upstate, I guess, or wherever, up
In the
the river
clink.
or whatever. But like, do you think that it's possible that there are enough Republicans that are outraged about this, that like real hearings, real investigations will happen?
Absolutely, because the calls aren't just coming from inside the house, right? And they're not just coming from Americans who are already pissed off about the 800 different things we have to be pissed off about every single day, right?
Yep.
This is coming from the UN. This is coming from presidents from around the world, presidents, leaders, whatever sort of regime type they have. So it's not, if it has the potential to be, career ending for Hegseth, where, his freedom can be taken away. Absolutely. Because someone mentioned it earlier. I can't remember if it was you, Tim, or Rich had mentioned the way that this administration moves. They came in thinking that they were omnipotent. They came in thinking that Trump was a king. They came in thinking that they could do whatever the hell it was that they wanted to do, and who was going to question them. There's a famous moment in Real Housewives history where Cherie says, "Who gonna check me, boo?" And that's basically with this administration came in with that attitude, like, who gonna check me, boo? Well, on this one, the whole damn world is gonna check you on this one. And then especially when you have situations where you bring in, I remember Ranking Member Meeks was talking about, I think on Threads one day, how finally they had been briefed on a situation and there was no details in the brief. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? You're hiding the fact that there is no real evidence. Now, what is interesting is that situation that happened maybe a few weeks ago with Great Britain and stopping intelligence sharing with the United States in that area specifically, because there is still a question of where's the United States getting their intel from? So there are a lot of questions to unpack here. And I have one more question. Whatever happened to that one person that survived a strike? Do y'all remember that? There was one person
Wished
that
away.
survived a strike. That person just completely went away. Every now and then, I will remind people on threads what happened to that person, i.e., witness.
Teacot.
Yeah, so
Probably.
I think that there's likely going to be some whistleblowers coming forward to talk about that.
It has to. I mean,
I can say that's going to happen.
Isn't that how we know about the kill 'em all thing? Was that somebody speaking off the record? Is that how we found that out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's whistleblowers.
I mean, there's a lot of CYA, right? Like people. I mean,
yeah. So
go
there
ahead.
were actually 2 survivors in a strike. I believe it was September 18th, who both got repatriated, and that was a messy strike too.
Mm-hmm, it was.
And there will be whistleblowers coming forward to talk about that, and that's why I'm very, very convinced that Pete Hegseth is going to jail.
And let me tell you something. I've been saying this for years. As a national security person, what has happened to the national security community? Let me be gentle here. There are a lot of aggrieved people. There are a lot of professional people who have dedicated their lives to making sure that not only that Americans are safe, and I know sometimes that can be a throwaway, kind of idea, but there really are people who are dedicated to keeping Americans safe abroad and around the world. And when you have an administration that does not respect the duty of the military, that does not respect the duty of rank, that does not respect tradition, that does not respect duty in and of itself, I'd argue, because the military right now, in many instances, are being used, in ways that people don't sign up to get used for. You talk to any vet, obviously they will have stories about maybe something, that they did, that they didn't love, that they had to do it, but they did it because they believed in the mission. We are having a situation where morale is low. People are not understanding what the mission is, and that's dangerous.
So, and I'll do one more question and then we'll wrap here. But so where do you see all of this going next? Like what do we think is going to happen both with Venezuela, where last night, which we're recording on Monday, Trump said without any sort of power that their airspace in Venezuela is closed, which it's not, but probably not a lot. So where do you see the end game on this?
Where do I see the end game? Well, the end game is going to be messy and chaotic. They do a thing and they never have a plan for it. They just go out there and do it. They break stuff. They kind of don't care. And then they go back and they go out into the world and break more stuff because there are no real consequences. How this ends depends on the consequences here. This is the stop, right? In my personal opinion, because after all of this, there's going to be a lot of cleanup that people like me are going to have to go out into the world and do, right? This is the stop. This is the moment where Republicans are going to have to dig deep and ask themselves what matters most. Are you okay backing an administration that is just going out and killing people without any authority? Congress is the only body that can declare war. There's no declaration of war. So what are we doing? Do you want to back murder? That literally is your legacy. That's literally what Republicans have to ask themselves at this point. Do you want to back murder? Period. Right. So where I see all this ending is I think a few people probably will get shuffled out. What happens to Donald Trump? I don't know if age or senility or something like that is going to catch up with him. And he just kind of gets trotted off to somewhere, where he can live out the rest of his days. But some of the things that I'm hearing here in DC, people understand that this is an administration problem. This isn't just a Trump problem. And people are trying to figure out how to fix the cabinet problem. of this administration.
Right.
And I know that there are some pretty extreme, legal ways to do that. But I think once Dems get back in office, I know for a fact that impeachments will happen all over the place. But I don't know what happens to Trump. I've been thinking a lot about that.
Yeah.
Does a Gavin Newsom come in and pardon him? Does Trump even make it all the way to 28? Right.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question. I mean, he got enraged last week when there was an article about him dialing back, basically doing what Joe Biden did, which was a very short schedule every day. There was videos of him nodding off. He would sit at his desk rather than standing, and he was very outraged. But I think it's a fair question. I think we have talked about, like, I don't think any of us would support anybody who would come in and pardon Donald Trump, regardless of how old
Not a
he is.
fucking chance.
I won't. Maybe I don't speak for everybody here, but I think that it is important that whoever is the Democratic standard bearer in 28 is all about investigations and getting to the bottom of this, because we have always turned the other page or the other shoulder, whatever the hell the term is.
The other cheek.
Thank you, Rich. And that can't happen this time. Like, there's too much.
After this period of divisiveness, we're going to need a time for healing, Tim.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Don't you fucking start with me.
Nope.
No,
you
honestly,
started to say something that I agreed with.
Not that kind of healing. Forgive and forget. We're all Americans here. No, I would actually love to see him go the opposite direction, because Trump, remember, he wanted to bring back Alcatraz. How amazing would it be if Gavin Newsom brought back Alcatraz for one fucking person, and he had to sit there and look at San Francisco through bars for the rest of his life and just think of all of the trans people eating kale, doing weird stuff that they do in San Francisco. Like, that is hell on earth for Donald Trump.
Sean Connery is no longer around to break anybody out of Alcatraz. So
the pieces are all coming together.
I'm so glad I worked in a Rock mention.
This is the Rock 3 or whatever. Like, this is the next movie in the trilogy.
Well, anyways, I think we can end it there. I will say that I am super proud of us that we got somebody with a degree from Harvard Divinity talking about both the housewives and Jeffrey Epstein. So I feel we did a great job today. So Dr. Nola, thank you very much. You are on all social platforms, Threads. You have a Substack, which people should go check out. What is it called? Remind me again.
It is called Security Brief, and it's about all things security related.
Yes, so everybody go check that out and subscribe. But Dr. Nola, thank you very much. I think this has been more entertaining than we expected when talking about extrajudicial killings. So thank you very much. We will have you back soon. Thank you very much. This is why I have
one of the most popular classes in Georgetown, because
clearly
I talk about war and scary stuff. And
I've been sitting here thinking that, Dr. Nola, you make me want to go back to school.
I know. I'm like,
wow, look at
that.
Seriously.
Class?
Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't have my master's yet, so it could happen.
There you go.
You have no idea how emotional that just made me, because that really is my ministry. Like, you have no idea. Like, but I've had a great time hanging out with y'all. Y'all have me back, because they're going to continue to try to keep blowing up the world. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we now know, like, who's the person that we call when people get blown up? It's Dr. Nola. All right. Well, thank you very much. Everybody go check out her stuff online. And we're going to take a short break. We'll come back and talk a little bit more. So thanks a lot. All right. We are back. Nola might be my new favorite guest, guys. Like,
that was really fun.
I feel like that transition deserved a hey, everybody. Even though it's halfway through, I just feel like we should have gotten another one.
Hey, everybody. We're back.
Everybody.
I feel so much better.
Okay. Now we can officially dive in. So obviously, we have talked about how bad it is to do extrajudicial killings, and that I think most of us disagree with that. I don't know how much more we need to dive into the pieces of this, but I think this is a completely different item, and is a potential momentum, not momentum because Democrats have had it, but this is one of those where it feels like the cracks might start, which we've been kind of hoping that would happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you go first. Is this starting to put a wedge in the MAGA world?
Pete Hegseth is going to be disposed of. We have seen what happens when someone gets to be a political liability, or if their name is in the press more than Donald Trump, which he also cares about too. Mm-hmm. And Pete Hegseth has had both of that. He's been dominating headlines, and it has all been bad. And he's got people like Senator Rand Paul coming out and saying that like you need to fucking get rid of this guy. So I think that Pete Hegseth is operating on borrowed time, and that he'll be really fucking lucky if he gets a pardon. But I don't think that Donald Trump is going to give him a pardon until it's absolutely fucking necessary.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
fair.
I mean, he has been pardoning a lot of terrible people lately, and one of the ones we haven't even talked about yet, which flies directly in the face of this "we must stop all drugs coming into the United States." He just pardoned the former Honduran president, who was spending 45 years in a United States federal prison for smuggling cocaine. And he just pardoned him. Because he is part of the right-wing party in Honduras. There are elections coming up, and that's the candidate he wanted. And he said, he even admitted, he's like, many fine people told me that this guy was screwed. And it's like, screwed by a United States jury and a United States judge? Like, you're basically saying
cocaine.
You believe the Hondurans over the Americans who just, like, the whole process of democracy basically working to put a powerful person away? And it's all just because it's the party that he supports.
Well, it also might be because
the party
it was
that
cocaine.
he supports, or is it a pay to play scenario? Because it's pay to play with a lot
Everything
of
else.
Well, probably both, right?
others. So, I mean, that cocaine money probably didn't get all seized.
I don't know. It's so hard to keep track of these things. He also apparently pardoned some other horrible person recently the other day I saw. Like, I don't know.
I mean, but we're like 2,000 in by now. I mean, I stopped keeping track out of sanity. I'm like, yeah, obviously he pardoned that person. I don't know who they are or what they did, but obviously.
I said something about the Honduran thing, the pardon, and someone was like, yeah, well, that serves you right. Biden pardoned his son, so it's the same. I'm like,
nope, not the same.
This is why you don't have conversations with MAGA, because there is no reasoning with them. Like, that is just
Speaking of which, did anybody have any MAGA family at Thanksgiving?
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Did you?
The only ones that I have that were there were bone fucking silent.
Yep, of course.
And I didn't even bother ruining Thanksgiving.
I mean, his approval ratings are what, 36%?
Yeah, it's atrocious.
Like, literally, basically the floor.
Yeah.
As
Before
of
MAGA
a
breaks,
recent poll, I think just like 3 days ago, Gallup came out with the latest one. It's the lowest of his second term.
Yeah. Well, this is a good transition then into a conversation that we wanted to have about the Tennessee 5th special election, that when you're listening to this, it will be Tuesday, election day.
Go vote.
And go vote.
Seventh district.
Seventh. Sorry. I haven't spent a lot of time in Tennessee.
Don't vote in the wrong district.
No, yeah. And also, well, it's interesting. There have been reports that some groups have been putting out that the election is on Wednesday, and it's from Republican groups because they don't want people to vote, which is always something they do. But Afton Bain is a Tennessee state legislator, and there was actually a poll that came out this weekend that showed her down 2 points. This is a Republican plus 22. This is not a purple district, as we were talking about before. This is a ruby red district. So there is a possibility here that Democrats could actually pick this up, which just shows how unpopular Donald Trump is right now and how much there is a potential wave forming for November of next year. I don't know if you guys have paid any attention to this race, but she's done a great job. There's been Kamala Harris was on the ground, a lot of groups on the ground. She's got a shot. And if we got a shot at a plus 22, like,
there's not a lot of districts that are more red than that.
Right.
A handful that are maybe 30 and 40, but in a good year for Republicans. So, if it's a 20 plus point swing, 100% agree. Like, we need to maintain the framing, maintain the perspective of what's happening here, because if she loses by 2 points or 3 points, that's a 20-point win for the left, where even like a month ago, I remember people saying, like, is there a chance Democrats could flip this special election in Tennessee? Like, this was off of the radar 3 months ago. Even the worst of the summer, the worst of Doge, nobody's looking at the Tennessee 7th district and thinking there's a flip opportunity. If we flip this, and then you talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving in January, there's like actually a scenario here where Mike Johnson loses his majority before we start voting in the midterms. It's getting like their majority is that slim. That's what's on the line here. So it's exciting to see. people have a chance to maybe flip and get a good representative in this district, but like, let's also keep that higher level perspective of what this is going to mean more broadly.
Do we think that Mike Johnson is relieved? I feel like he hates his job.
No.
I mean,
I feel like he wants to quit.
He's got that
And it's-
smile on his face all the time that looks like he's just
this,
on
the pursed
fumes,
lips.
just on fumes.
I mean, just the things he has to. I mean, he's basically tossed all of his evangelical beliefs, which most of them are kind of bullshit, anyways, in the trash to defend him. Like, it's just on the Epstein stuff in particular, where he's had to go full bore for Trump. And he was also like the eighth choice. Don't forget when they came up with this, he was basically the like, well, we got to pick somebody. Well, there's Mike over there. He's been off
before they got married.
Well, there's a lot that could be said there that I'm not going to do right now. But I think, Rich, you made a very important point that, even if Afton loses this race tomorrow, if it's a single digit loss, that means then that anywhere from a plus 12 to plus 15 to plus 18, those Republicans have to be worried, because this is a plus 22. This is a really hard mountain. Like, if she wins this, that is an earthquake. Yeah. But if she even loses by like less than 5, that's also an earthquake. And I want to make sure that people understand that, because a lot of times people have the tendency, and I was on a call earlier where this came up, like, we don't want people to feel let down if she loses, because there are wins in losses, as long as you talk about it the right way. And again, even if she loses by 5, that's a shocking result.
It's like Rand Paul going and winning Nancy Pelosi's district in San Francisco.
Yeah.
This is the whole idea behind like my whole on offense brand, right? We have to put Republicans on the defensive, and that means defending plus 22 districts. It is. We can't simply just focus on the safe races. We can't simply focus on, the purple districts and all that shit. We have to play the game absolutely everywhere, and we have to make it as resource intensive for the other side as we possibly can. And when it comes to, all of us, like posting shit on social media and getting out that this race is happening and others like it, this stuff does matter. It might feel small in the moment, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the one thing we also need to accept here is that, which is great for us, is that Trump is not going to reverse course on any of this stuff because of these results. He's not changed. And that's where I think, like, even going back to our previous conversation briefly, is like, I don't think Hegseth is going anywhere either. Because look at the difference in turnover from his first term and all these cabinet positions to now. 100% difference. They went from the most turnover to pretty much the least overnight, because he's pretty much walking in and going, this is my way. I'm doing it my way. I don't give a shit what you think. I'm going to let Hegseth blow the people up in there. I'm going to lose all these races because I'm sticking with my fucking guns. That's what Trump is doing, because he has nothing to lose personally. That's the reason why he's doing it. He has one term left. He's fucking using it. So all this, like all the metrics of how Republicans are going to adjust their structure are different now, because they don't have a leader that's looking out for their best interest. They just have a leader who's looking out for his best interest. And they're not going to be able to do anything until they pivot around that. And I think an election like this is a great eye-opening moment for them, when even if she's close or wins or whatever, when Trump does nothing in response to it, it's going to be even more evidence that they have to, as a party, start to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do long term? Because this guy, he's going to be dead in the next few years. It's not going to matter. But he's the president, and he's not listening to what we need. And we're going to be alive in 20 years and trying to be in politics. It's just not going to happen for us. So all the metrics are different, because Trump does not give a fuck. Trump is doing it for Trump. And that's it.
Yeah, it's going to keep getting worse.
Yep.
We're talking about like cracks in the MAGA coalition. I think I read like 3 different articles this weekend that were all different sources, like Washington Post, Politico. They all had articles about how the MAGA coalition is cracking in like 6 different places, right? You've got the Nick Fuentes versus the Ben Shapiro's. Like you've got I'm trying to think of the nicest way to say this. You've got the Israel split, right? People can't decide who they're going to let in.
Yeah.
All the creators are going in different directions. Marjorie Taylor Greene is just like, fuck it. The signs are all there that this is going to be a deeply fractured and mostly leaderless movement, just like the Tea Party was. Remember, like there were like 20 people who were like the self-appointed Tea Party leader, and lo and behold, the Tea Party didn't fucking do anything or go anywhere because it was leaderless. And so, but now it's like 10 times deeper, because they're just saying like, I am racist. They're saying I am a Nazi. Like they're saying all of the things out loud that they didn't say 15 years ago. And that's going to make it that much harder to come back, even though Trump is giving them off ramp after off ramp after off ramp with all of these things that he is doing. And I agree, Zach, doubling down and tripling down. He's going to keep committing to his own brand, because he has always been me first. But now me first doesn't include all of the people who needed to ride on his coattails, because he doesn't need them anymore.
Right.
Did you guys see that Trump wants to rename the Republican Party?
Yeah, I did see that.
It's a story that looks like it should be out of The Onion, but it's not. Like Donald Trump is talking about, and he's serious, he wants to rename the Republican Party the Trumplicans. He also,
I did see that.
Did he really
also
say
floated
that?
This is from the Daily Beast.
T-publicans and the
horrible.
T, I don't know, two different spellings of the T-publicans, which I love this story, because the more we talk about it, the more Republicans are going to say, no, he's not serious. And the more that Donald Trump will want to double down. And
Yeah.
this is
Yes, I
going
am
to be a
serious.
hilarious fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Republican.
Well, it's also, but it's also just shows like he doesn't give a shit about the Republicans. He's only,
he never did.
He's never, I mean, he's become a Republican, don't get me wrong, but like he never was one. He's friends with the Clintons, and like he gave Hillary all kinds of money back in the day. Like
He gave Bubba something.
well,
yeah.
But he found the Republicans were his vehicle to power and to more money. Yeah. And so like him fucking with their name, like
He doesn't care.
it's just
a vehicle.
No,
He's got
it's
the power. He could just set the vehicle on fire and let it burn on the side of the road.
And the thing he cares about most is showing that he's in control, right? So he's going to embarrass these people, and I guarantee you that it's going to get worse as we get closer. Like, can you imagine when there are Republicans running for president next year, and he has to deal with like them getting the spotlight, and no one's paying attention to him anymore?
Well,
He's going to lose his fucking shit.
This is in the context of him teasing a third term.
Yeah.
So he might just be nuking every Republican who pops their head up. And remember when he was running for re-election the first time, the RNC had a whole convention, and they decided that they no longer have a party platform.
Yeah.
That's going to happen again. Like, they've already got Project 2025. Donald Trump doesn't want to be committed to anything. So the one thing that would come out of the next RNC is him renaming the Republican Party after himself right before they get absolutely fucking demolished.
This is amazing.
I love this. I think this is great.
The way this is looking right now, and there's a lot that can happen, but like they are marching towards a very bad place. And I will say, like, you look, and I think the way of framing it is right about Fuentes versus Shapiro. Fuentes is winning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are going to a very, and by the way, Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi. Like, there is no mistaking it. He is a neo-Nazi, and he is seeing the crack that he is going to try to drive right through and make this party a true alt-right party. And if you think that Donald Trump is bad, wait until this guy gets a hold of the party. He is, I mean, Chris, you're the expert here, so I shouldn't be
Trump's
talking
the
about
gateway
this.
drug.
Yeah, but Trump is the gateway to a very, very bad place.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the House and Senate is filled with groypers right now.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, when I was first writing threat reports for members of Congress, like in the context of the ongoing January 6th committee at the time, I was writing about how groypers were in Paul Gosar's office, and that there were new groypers popping up. And groypers are these neo-Nazi followers of Nick Fuentes, how they were popping up in other offices. Now, if you go to Washington, D.C., and you sit down with an intern in a Republican office, that person's probably a groyper. Because no one else wants to actually get into Republican politics. Normal young men, and it is almost entirely young men, who are Republican, they don't want to get involved. It's only these like really hate-filled incel types. That is what Washington, D.C. is flush with right now.
Are you saying that intern or whoever that was that had the American flag with the
Fucking swastika.
drawn into the stripes? Are you saying that person is not the right person for us for America? Like this is a controversial thing.
Well, Rich, hold on a second. That image was very hard to see when you were in there. It was very
blurry.
Impossible.
Which was their actual answer to why there was an American flag with a Nazi symbol in the middle of it. Oh, well, the photo highlighted it. We couldn't tell. There's a lot of these out there now.
Now you can tell.
A little bit too much of a coincidence when it happens 35 times.
And there's no process of introspection, right? Of hey, so now that we know that there is a person with a swastika flag on their work computer in the Capitol, we're going to do some deep dives. We're going to have some sessions to talk about how we get Nazis out of the party. They don't go there. They just say, "Oh, it's hard to see." It's like the WhatsApp thread, "Oh, the bunch of kids. We don't want them to ruin their futures."
Right.
38-year-old
kids,
children.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have learned that, I hate to be the person that's always the media, but they don't get challenged on it. It's a one-day story and it's gone. No one is holding them accountable. They know that they have won that battle with the media. They have pushed it so far to the right in order for the media to say they aren't biased, but they keep moving it so that everything keeps getting shifted. And then a Democrat says something that's completely normal, and they're like, "Whoa, what? That doesn't jive. Wait, you want to have healthcare for everybody? That's dangerous." It's just so they don't have to because nobody holds them accountable.
Yeah. I mean, look at Reince Priebus and Paul Ryan. They've just disappeared into,
Who are they?
Fucking consulting land. They're making a ton of fucking money because they don't have to live with the shame of building a party that was taken over by fucking Nazis in less than 10
Paul
years.
Ryan is on the board of Fox. And he sits there and he always is like, "Oh, well, this is not who we are," and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, part of his compensation is coming from Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters and all these garbage human beings. And they just rake in the cash because they don't actually care.
How did we get onto this when we started talking about Shapiro and Fuentes? I feel like we tangented for 20 minutes there, which is always it's making fun of young Republicans is a national pastime in my social circle.
Shooting
so
fish in a barrel,
problem
right?
there.
Yeah.
Right. Fishing for fish in a barrel. But how did we get onto this?
Maybe, just maybe, this is the wrap.
Right.
I think this is the wrap. But
some listener's going to be like, "You were saying the thing, and fuck, you guys never picked it back up."
Well, you know what's going to happen. We're going to hit stop, and then we'll remember.
Immediately remember. Yeah.
But I have great stuff to talk about to wrap this show up.
Is it merch?
In a minute. But so today is Cyber Monday. And so for this week, we are offering our memberships on Substack for 20% off. So now for less than $5 a month, you can help support our work in keeping the lights on and developing new shows, which we will be talking about somewhat soon. And we will run this through the rest of the week. So if you want to go to findoutpodcast.substack.com and become a member for $4.80 per month, you could do that right now, and we would greatly appreciate it. You can also buy merch.
She just did the Gavin Newsom.
I did.
Yeah, we didn't time it right.
And I know we should have coordinated this before. Our merch
amateurs.
is so wonderful, union made and printed, made in America, super comfy. Hoodies, the hoodies are great, super comfortable. The shirts also great, black, white, all kinds of options.
People can use their 20% savings on Substack and get themselves a hoodie. I think the math checks out.
Yes, definitely. Sure. Our $1.20 hoodies that are sending us into bankruptcy. But you could use that money if you're budgeting that way to buy a Find Out hoodie at findoutpodcast.com. And I think with that, I think that's all we've got, guys. I don't have unless Luke's got to get fucked on the spot.
Not off the top of my head.
I mean, Pete Hegseth.
We already kind of, that was
Actually, wait, I do have one.
Yes.
You guys see this story about the student at the University of Oklahoma who's losing their shit about their grade on that essay?
Oh, I did.
Because,
tell the audience what this is.
So they're framing it as I use the Bible in my essay, I got failed for it. Not the case. You were supposed to write an academic fucking essay with citations that appealed to reality. You didn't do that. You did I think, I feel, and by the way, it came from the Bible. That's not a fucking citation. Get fucked for making this about the fact that the teacher's trans or something. God damn, you ignorant fucks. You didn't write an essay that you were supposed to.
Yep.
I think
That's a better essay already. I need to go read the actual essay, but I like
It's
Luke's
fucking
essay.
atrocious. An
Wait.
8th grader could write that essay.
Are you saying that the Bible should not be used as a historical fact, like citation?
You mean the document that's passed through the hands of approximately 1 billion powerful white men who wanted to use it to control how things were done in their time isn't reliable? Shocker!
I still read mine every day, so I don't know what we're even doing here.
I sleep with it under my pillow. Gives me.
Oh, yeah.
It tells me I'm big and strong and brave and that I should be in charge. Why wouldn't I read it? I mean, come on.
I don't know if America's ready for our conversation on religion yet, but we will hold that for another day. Everybody, thank you for watching or listening wherever you do. Thank you to Dr. Nola for joining us today, and we will be back on Thursday, and we'll have news about Afton Band, what it means, okay, and I'm sure a bunch of other crazy shit will happen along the way. So, thank you.
Yep.
We'll be back
Can't wait.
on Thursday. Bye, guys.